evening and welcome to Information Please, your Peoria Public Library on the air, bringing you information about your library and your community. And I'm very pleased this evening to have my guest Rufus Nelson, who is from Lakeview Branch and is our graphic novels expert. Hi, Rufus.
Hello.
I'm so excited that I got you out of a graphic novel and was able to get you to come here because you have a lot of information about art form, literature that not so many people know about or dismiss as being childish, and
True.
It's really gone far beyond that, and so I'm glad that you could make time to come and talk.
Oh.
There is a lot of different kinds of graphic novels, but what are some of the reasons people should read graphic novels or not tell their kids, oh, don't read that comic book, which I think is the usual reaction?
True. I have a lot of people say that, graphic novel, that's not a real book. That's not, anything to deal with. But kind of like me when I was young, I went straight from JP book, picture books to trying to go right to chapter books. And it made me really not like to read, because you go straight from, I got all these pictures and words, and now all of a sudden it's just a bunch of words. And that looks really boring if you're just going from one to the other.
Yeah.
So graphic novels are kind of like a middleman. They're kind of a way to get you from one point to the next. And graphic novels really help me enjoy reading.
That brought you back to reading. Have you started to read real books too?
Real
books with no pictures.
But it really has helped me read, regular fiction books and things like that. I haven't read any nonfiction books, because that's too adult.
You're not ready to grow up
I'm
that much.
I'm not ready to grow up that much yet. I'm only 27, so yeah. I'm not ready to grow up.
Not ready for that solid nonfiction stuff.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because so many men will only read nonfiction.
True.
And it's hard to get them to read fiction. So that's an interesting point. But I do know we have this little factoid that the average 15 to 24-year-old American spends 2 hours each day watching TV, but only 7 minutes reading. So do you think graphic novels can cure that?
Graphic novels can help with that, because the one of the things I like about graphic novels is it's also kind of like watching a movie, because there are words, there are dialects, but you're also still getting a picture. So those people that aren't good at, that aren't very imaginative, or that are more visually more
visually oriented,
they can still they get that little movie right here.
Right
if I'm reading this, then I flip through and there's the next scene.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. So what kind of collection of graphic novels does Peoria Public Library have?
We've got a pretty good collection. Well, depending on which branches you go to, some have a lot less. It's a matter of room. Lakeview, I love our collection. We just started getting a lot of very new things. So
okay.
I'm very excited. We've got a lot more on the way. I think the North Branch has the most, because
okay.
they have a little bit more room, but we have a pretty good collection.
But if there's one somebody wants, they can just go in our catalog or talk to the librarian and get it delivered to the place they want to.
Oh yeah,
be at.
we can get, if you come to Lakeview, we can, if you want one that's at North, at Lincoln, any of the other branches, we can even go outside of the Peoria branches to get even more. So
whichever one you want. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
And I think a lot of people don't know that, especially the people who they just want to come in and they want to pick something off the shelf. And it does require a little bit of planning, but if you really want to read it, it's not going to hurt you to talk to the librarian for a second. Or use your library card and get on and use your PIN number. You don't even have to talk to anybody. If you're one of those people, I don't want to talk to anybody. You can get on there and have it sent. It'll be on that hold shelf, self-check, boom, you're gone, and you've got the graphic novel that you want.
And then you're still just walking in, going to the shelf, picking some up, and leaving.
Yeah, fast and easy, and you've got your
just takes a little bit of forethought.
Yeah. What's the age range for graphic novels? I mean, do they start for really young kids and move up?
We have a lot of children's graphic novels. I would say if you're going to start reading graphic novels, I would think maybe maybe 6 to 10. We have some around that age, and then up, because I mean you kind of have to be able to read.
Yeah, you do. They're not
So-
just strictly picture books. You do have to be able to read them.
Right.
So.
Right.
But they do have different reading levels of them.
Right. They have really some. They even have graphic novels. I can't remember which one it is right now, but it's in the flight graphic novels, which are a bunch of different comic books in one.
Oh,
And
okay.
there's one that doesn't even have words.
Oh,
I think it's called.
just
I think it's
all
Robot
pictures.
and Dog, and it's all pictures,
Oh, fun.
and it still
Okay.
takes you through that movie aspect.
Yeah, so if you've got that small one who's a really reluctant reader, that might be something to try.
Because then they're getting the pictures, but then it's like, oh, I'd like to hear some words. I'd like to see some words with this. And then, you just gradually build up and go farther.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. When I was growing up, I had the mom who said comic books were not real books and you're not wasting your money or your time. Because you couldn't go to the library and get a comic book back then.
True.
But my friend across the street, whose mother was a teacher, bought her comic books all the time and said she didn't care as long as kids were reading.
Yeah, 'cause
and
it's still reading.
she even took comic books to school for her students to get them reading, and it seemed to work. So
Oh, yeah.
I didn't develop a comic book habit, but have been open to the idea that they can be helpful. So if there's parents out there that think graphic novels aren't real books, maybe they want to take a look and see what's in there and what they can find.
And also, you're never told to start reading comic books.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get my parents into reading comic books.
Yeah.
That would be pretty fun to see my dad flipping through a comic book.
Yeah.
I would love to see it.
Or a graphic novel, yes. Well, apparently they're also very complex. And you've got one there that's like this thick.
Oh,
What
yeah.
Is that all one story?
Oh yes, it's all one thing. The thing about
Amazing.
graphic novels and comic books. Comic books are just those little
like a magazine
those little
kind of thing.
thin magazines. Graphic novels are basically a series of comic books put into one
Okay.
book.
Okay. Well, it's like when you used to wait every week to get the new.
Right. Now
I
they
seem
just
to remember
put 'em all-
Archie and Betty. What were those? I don't know what the overall name was, but I can remember waiting for the next one to come out, or the comic strips in the paper that you're
Right.
always waiting for the next day to see what happened.
And also the comic the little comics and the comic strips in the newspapers. We have actual books like Calvin and Hobbes and things. We have full books of those.
Oh, all right. So that might be a thing too. If somebody
Yeah.
really enjoys those in the newspaper, maybe they want to try one out as a full graphic novel.
Oh, yeah.
And just immerse
And
yourself
just
in
read
Calvin
them
and
all
Hobbes instead
right
of
away
3
instead
panels.
of
Wait and wait. That's neat. I hadn't thought about that. So I know that they're important too for ESL, English as a Second Language folks. And certainly we have more and more all the time that are. So I don't know if Lakeview you've had that experience. I know at North Branch there's many folks who are engineers who come to work for Caterpillar, and they come to story times and they read graphic novels, and
Oh, yeah.
so
Because like I said, it also gives you a picture, and the pictures help with the words. Because if you can see the picture, you can kind of get a gist of what's going on.
What the word-
And then that can help you with the words.
do we have any in other languages?
I don't think I know Lakeview doesn't, but
Okay, we might in the system
we might
have
in the
some in
system.
Spanish.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. And I think I've heard that you can download some from our
Oh, yeah.
eRead Illinois or from Overdrive,
Oh yeah.
which are online.
They still look good. They still
Yeah,
look
you read them
pretty
on your
cool.
tablet, which,
You can read them on your phone, but that will eat up a lot of battery power.
yeah, real quickly. Yeah, so you might want to do it on your tablet or your computer, but that's easy. You just need your library card and your PIN number, and you can access them whenever you want,
Yes, ma'am.
or download them or whatever. See it, put them on hold, whatever. Well, the other thing is, I know our culture today is so multimedia, which I think in my head about the days before print, people experience the world in basically a multimedia way, and it seems like print may have been a very primitive way of communicating, and now we're back to the multimedia way, right down to this TV show of people can see us and hear us, and we're not just, they're not just reading about it. And so I almost wonder if graphic novels aren't a little bit of a return to making that more of the experience that we do every day when you walk down the street and you see things and hear things. Oh, we need smell-o-vision now, right? Smell the roses on TV or on your tablet. Yeah. We have nonfiction.
Yes, ma'am.
Graphic novels.
I didn't get a chance to bring any here. The one kind of like the newspaper one. Those are kind of the ones that we have in nonfiction. Garfield, Calvin and Hobbes. There's Zip,
Well, there's stories of, like, I know if people want to read about George Washington.
We do have one. It's called March. There's a book 1 and book 2 out right now. It's about not George Washington. It's about Martin Luther King. And we have some about, like, real time Buffalo Bill, all the Civil War. There's ones about the Alamo and things like that. We have a lot of those.
Okay, and those probably make history more interesting. You've got struggling with history class, or just are curious about events that went on. That might be a great way to pick up some information about those things.
I was never big in school. I was never big into history, but we have history graphic novels, and that kind of gets you interested because it's like, oh, look at these. Because I mean, when you're reading a school book, and it's just giving you all these facts and dates, and you're like, oh, this is so boring. But if you have those pictures there, you're like, oh, wow, he did that. Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
They even have they have a graphic novel Bible.
Oh, wow.
And my grandmother's trying to get me to read that. But
I want to know how thick that
is. It's pretty lengthy,
big.
But
wow,
it is cool to see,
be able to see all that. That's neat. I didn't know that. I understand, too, that it's one more way to experience art.
Oh, yeah.
Do you have your favorite illustrators? Pictures you like better and the different?
I do, because there's different artists working on the graphic novels, and there are some that I look at and I'm like, oh, I hate to see the look of that one. But, I can't name off which ones I like and don't like, but there are some that I prefer not to read because I don't like the look of them.
Don't like the look of them. What about the ones you read backwards? Those are the
manga.
Manga, yeah.
Well, some people say manga, some people say manga. I'm not for sure of the correct term, but we have Helsing, which is kind of about a vampire, and it's about Dracula, but his name is also spelled backward for Alucard, so it's kind of plays off that backwards idea. But we have a lot of manga, Yu-Gi-Oh, Inuyasha, things like that.
But there you start at the back of the book and read.
And you read right to left, and then you're still reading up and down.
Okay.
So where we would go like this, they're doing like this. So it's a lot harder to do when you're first getting started. But I will say with the mangas, if you do open it from the left side, they always have a little picture that says, "Stop! Don't do this. Go back the other way."
Oh, well, that's good.
So if you're reading them, you can always flip back to that back part and see, okay, well, this is where I need to go, because it gives you a little diagram of exactly where to go.
Yeah. Why do you think those got popular? Was it TV, video games?
Well, mangas came from, it's more of an Asian thing, but a lot of the cool characters and things like I said, Inuyasha and Yu-Gi-Oh and things, they came from Asia. So then we still wanted to read them here.
Yeah.
So we just had them brought over here, and then we had them translated. So we got to
experience
keep up with
that.
the cool
stuff
trends
from
and stuff.
Asia. Yeah. Well, we better talk about some of the ones you're going to recommend, and we've got some pictures here. The Amazing Spider-Man, Spider-Verse Prelude.
Oh, yeah.
And that one is your favorite. That one's a Marvel comic.
The Marvel is I am prone to Marvel. I'm a Marvel fan.
Okay.
There's the big name ones are Marvel and DC.
Okay.
I'm more prone to Marvel.
Okay.
My favorite character is the Punisher. All time favorite character. But there's the Amazing Spider-Man, the Spider-Verse. I don't know where the
There's a camera there. You can point that at.
the Spider-Verse. I like the Spider-Verse because what's going on is there's an enemy that's after Spider-Man. This comes after. I don't know if you know about Dr. Octopus or anything like.
I don't.
Okay.
In fact, when that said Spider-Verse, I thought it was poetry. And then I realized, oh no, they meant like a universe.
Yes, because
I was like, I didn't know they did graphic novels that were poetry about Spider-Man. Okay, time to just quit that, yeah.
In the graphic novel universe, there's a lot of things where it deals with, we're coming from different universes. There are a lot of Earth. There are a lot of them, and
a lot
we're
of different places.
Right, and they all have their different Spider-Man. And there's an enemy in the Spider-Verse. There's an enemy that's going after all the Spider-Man because it feeds off of it. So they can, jump through all the different dimensions. And Spider-Verse kind of brings all the Spider-Men together.
Oh, all right.
And it's really cool to see because you also get a glimpse back at, where each of them came from and what they're doing in their own time. And it's really cool to just see that variation of, in a different place, Spider-Man would have went this way. There's some evil Spider-Man that, that he didn't have his Uncle Ben, or he killed his Uncle Ben, or Gwen Stacy lived and Peter Parker died, things like that. There's a Spider-Man with 8 arms. It's amazing.
It's crazy.
It's
all right,
so much fun.
Well, and another Marvel comic is Captain America. Fear him.
Oh yes, I'm enjoying this. In case you can't tell, Captain America is now black.
Yay!
But what I do like is that they didn't take Steve Rogers, who was the original Captain America. They didn't take Steve Rogers and make him into a black person. They took another character and they passed the mantle. So Steve Rogers, the original Captain America, he was in a fight. His energy, all the super soldier serum that gave him his powers and strength and things, it got sucked out of him. So now he's an old man. He's what he would be if he didn't get caught in the ice and frozen. So since he's an old man now, he can't really
go off and be Captain
throwing
America.
shields and still catching it without his arm breaking from fragility. So the Falcon, Sam Wilson, has now taken up the mantle as Captain America, and he's a little bit rough right now. He doesn't really, he's not like Captain America in that it's like, we got to do everything by the book. But it's I'm enjoying it.
Oh, good. And then another Marvel comic is Wolverine Destiny.
Wolverine Destiny. I'm a Marvel fan, but one of my favorite groups was always the X-Men.
Oh,
and there's a lot of things.
I even like the X-Men.
The X-Men are really awesome. There's a lot of things going on with the X-Men have kind of split up, and now it's, this group of X-Men versus this group of X-Men. It was a whole Phoenix debacle. People that know graphic novels will know the Phoenix thing that happened.
Yeah.
But the new kind of move with Marvel is that Wolverine has died. One of the kind of faces of the X-Men. Wolverine has died. His healing factor was taken, and all that adamantium in his body was still poisoning him, things like that. But kind of in the Wolverine graphic novels, a lot of his enemies like Sabretooth, Mystique, Lady Deathstrike, his own son Daken, and some of his friends, X-23, who's a clone of him, they've got together, and they're trying to find out why this happened to Wolverine. It's kind of a mystery. They're trying to solve, who did this? How, he was killed.
Who's the villain?
Right.
Cool. Okay. Well, and now we'll go on to DC Comics, which you wanted to recommend Batman Beyond 2.0, Justice Lords Beyond, which is a really long title.
Batman Beyond, I love Batman Beyond because It's not Bruce Wayne. I love Bruce Wayne, but it's this is Batman Beyond is kind of the future.
Yeah.
We've gotten beyond Bruce Wayne. Bruce Wayne's an old man now, so it's kind of like the
Next
Captain America. It's kind of like the Captain
generation,
America thing where the hero that we know has gotten too old to do it anymore,
Yeah.
and someone else has to pick up the mantle, which is one thing that I love about graphic novels. They're growing as we're growing. And
Going along with you, kind of like Star Trek.
Kind of like Star.
Kind of keep getting new captains.
In Star Wars, we're
Yeah.
getting new Jedis and things like that in the new
Yeah.
movie, which I'm super excited about.
Oh, me too.
But graphic novels, they keep going. You read a fiction book and stop there, or once the series is done, it's done.
Yeah.
But graphic novels, they're always having to come up with some new idea. Why
Yeah.
did the X-Men split up? Why is Captain America black now? Or why
Yeah.
did Spider-Man turn evil?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and now Bruce Wayne has had to give up the mantle in this version. They have started the New 52. DC has started New 52, and kind of what it is it takes all of the characters and it brings them back to the beginning and kind of
okay.
starts over all their stories.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So there's different ways to read about your favorite.
Right, and then they get to
Yeah.
get old all over again.
Yeah.
But in Batman Beyond, Terry McGinnis is the new Batman. He's got a new cool outfit. Right now he's being beat up by Superman. In this one, it's kind of alternate reality. There's another, like I said, another
Okay.
Earth where the Justice League are all bad people.
all right.
Superman, all Wonder Woman, they're evil now. And Terry McGinnis has to go to that dimension. I can't tell you why. It's in the graphic novel.
You have to read the book to find out.
You have to read the book.
Read the book and find out.
But he has to try to solve a mystery. He has to go into that dimension. So then he has to fight off the bad Justice League, and it's pretty cool to see Superman being a villain, because everyone knows Superman is the all-time hero, and
Oh, yeah.
I don't particularly like Superman.
Oh, all right. Well, you got your preferences, but you've got Superman Men of Tomorrow.
I do, because I do love this. This ended up being real. I was a little skeptical, but I ended up really loving this.
Okay.
It's kind of there's an alien that comes down and tries to start, taking over, and of course Superman has to take him out. But then there's another person that comes, and he ends up being a human. So he kind of has almost the same story of Superman. In case you don't know, Superman is an alien.
Yeah.
Superman is an alien. His homeworld is destroyed. Kind of what's going on in this is that there was a human, there were some scientists, and they sent their child off into space because they thought Earth was going to be destroyed. Of course, it ended up not being destroyed, but he was still sent off, and then he has to come back to his home.
Okay.
So it's kind of a conflict of, I've been over in this other alien world for all this time. Do I, stick with these people that I know, these people these aliens that raised me, or do I have any loyalty still to Earth?
Yeah.
So it's kind of, Superman versus Superman, and it's really cool to see.
Oh.
It's really cool to see somebody that Superman can't beat right away.
Yeah.
That's kind of always been my thing against Superman. He's got so many powers, and he's so powerful that it's like, why is he being beat up at all?
Yeah. What's the challenge there? Yeah. Well, and then you've got Batgirl of Burnside.
This Batgirl of Burnside comes after death of a family, which is the Joker has kind of wreaked havoc with with
Darn that Joker.
He's everywhere, but
Yes.
he's so lovable.
Yeah. Yes.
But Batgirl she leaves Gotham and she goes out on her own, kind of like Nightwing. Nightwing was the original one of the original Robins. He got old enough and he thought, I don't have to live under Batman's shadow anymore. I can do what I want to do. So he had to leave Gotham to start his own thing. But this is kind of like that. It takes Batgirl, and she's young, and she's leaving Gotham, and she's starting her own thing. And it's really I love it. I loved it.
All right. Well, now you've got some other ones that they aren't new, they're older ones, but they're your personal favorites.
Oh, these are the
Oh, those are independent
these are
titles. Sorry, I skipped.
the more independent titles. I mean, they're not, Marvel or DC. Marvel and DC are just the big name ones.
Yeah.
I kept these two together.
Walking Dead,
The Walking Dead graphic novels.
Whispers into Screams, and Life and Death.
If you have not read Walking Dead, you are missing out on so much.
All right.
Have you watched the Walking Dead show?
A little bit.
Oh, I love Walking Dead.
I have children who are fanatics, so.
If you can get the first compendiums, the first two compendiums, because it's just like I said, it takes the graphic.
Did Walking Dead start with the TV show, or did it start with graphic novels?
It started with graphic novels.
Okay.
And then they've kind of been
made it
making
into
the
a TV show
off of it. But yeah.
Okay.
It's very different from the show.
Okay.
And these two are a lot farther along than the show has gotten. The show hasn't gotten where these are yet. So it's kind of like a spoiler. You're reading a spoiler, really,
Yeah.
but like I said, the show doesn't necessarily go the way of the comic books exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So you do get to see a lot of differences, and it's very cool to compare and contrast
Mm-hmm.
both of them. And if you can, I would suggest getting the first two compendiums and
I
and
actually
reading
have
them.
looked at those.
Those.
I think I was trying to catch up and talk to my kids, but real quick, we just have a second left. Tell me about your big thick one there.
Sculptor. Sculptor is kind of God has told a guy, you're going to die in these many days. So you need to go out there and live it up. You need to live your dream. And he meets a girl and he falls in love, and she's suicidal. It's kind of a romance. I love it because it's not just fighting. It's not superheroes. It's romance.
All right.
It's really
romance graphic novel. We are out of time. We didn't even get to your last ones. I'll pull them up on the screen. But thank you so much for being with us tonight. And we'll see you next week on Information Please.